I've watched almost every NCLEX vlog that I could find, and I've gotten so much information so far. Welcome to the beginning of my NCLEX journey. This is going to be a series, so go ahead and stay tuned. Hey everyone, my name is Kristen and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am currently in my 4th and final semester of nursing school, which is super exciting. I'm so close to that finish line. Now, I am about 3 months out from the time frame that I want to take my NCLEX. I am shooting for early June. I will accommodate if needed. But if you're interested in wanting to know what my NCLEX study plan looks like right now, 90 days out, just go ahead and keep watching. Provide timestamps down below in case you want to skip around in this video. All right, when I mean I have done my research, I've watched so many vlogs, I've read blogs, I've done as much research as I could to figure out what resources are out there for me. There is one complaint that I have, and it's my school has not really put a lot of focus on trying to help students find resources for the NCLEX. They don't want to be biased and make us buy one application when they want the student to figure that out on their own, which is completely fine, but I feel like I've been so overwhelmed trying to figure out what's going to work best for me, what resources I need, how to even start diving in and studying for this beast of a test. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my research, what I came across, why I decided to use the resources that I decided to use, show you my current NCLEX study plan that is most likely going to change just a little bit here and there, and I am going to add on a resource later on. First thing I'm going to talk about is the materials that I have in front of me. Now, I decided, most importantly, I do have a bullet journal, which all of my study plan is going to get placed in my bullet journal, but I just didn't want there to be messy pages with me scribbling things out, so I decided to do all of this on paper first. I knew with the NCLEX, I wanted a whole separate journal for documenting my NCLEX journey because I am already stressed in my final semester and I'm trying my best to keep my stress levels down. Has not really been working very well. I can tell that I have been a little bit unmotivated to continue on this semester. So I decided to put aside a journal specifically for NCLEX and really just journaling my life away right now. And I will have this with me whenever I need it, specifically for this last semester NCLEX and applying to my first job. Now later on, I am going to do a whole job series when it comes to looking for jobs, applying for those jobs, interviews, and then getting my first job. So don't worry, all that information will be in future videos. The next couple items that I decided to pull out, I do have a lot of school supplies that I've just built up throughout the years. So most of this I've already purchased in the past. I didn't have to go out and buy anything, but I did decide to pull out 2 college-ruled composition notebooks. The reason that I have these notebooks is for taking notes. I want to be able to have notes specifically for topics that I don't understand, topics that I don't remember, or just any information that I feel like I need to know for the NCLEX. I decided to pull out 2. I don't know if I'm going to be using both of them, but at least I have them with me in case I want to write down any information I need to know. The next item that I absolutely needed was a folder. Now, once again, these are my favorite Mead folders that I do just have a bunch lying around in all different colors. So I decided to choose the yellow. Yellow is my favorite color in hopes it will make me feel better about this NCLEX test. If you watched my test anxiety video, I really do have a lot of test anxiety when it comes to standardized exams. I've never been a great test taker, and it's been a journey for me to try to actually get good grades when it comes to taking tests. You know what? If those sad tears come out because I'm stressed, frustrated, it's going to happen, but sometimes I just love looking at my favorite colors and just my favorite designs, so that's why I chose yellow. Inside this folder, I'm going to put any loose leaf paper that I might have or accumulate throughout this whole NCLEX journey. Of course, I already have stuff inside. This brings me to the next point of my research and figuring out what I needed to do for NCLEX, where I needed to start, and what resources I needed to buy, or even what resources I needed to use that I already have. When it came to researching, I decided to watch all different YouTube vlogs, see what worked for other YouTubers. I feel like a lot of the people that share their journey on YouTube is so helpful. The first resource that I knew I had to use right away, which I've already talked about in one of my previous videos, is my Saunders book. I've talked about this in previous videos. I've used this book from the beginning of my nursing program, and I absolutely love it. All that information is in a list form, and it makes going through health conditions and just any information I need to know so easy to understand, and it's a Cliff's Notes version. So I'm gonna continue using that and use that as my base for all the information that I need to know. Moving on to the second resource. I've heard a lot about YouTubers talking about, and I hope I say his name correctly, Mark Klimek reviews. I looked into it and I was able to actually get my hands on some of the resources, which I've heard that in the past he has allowed students to record his reviews and then share them. So I did get a hold of some of that information, and I'm currently starting to listen through those lectures. I figured the earlier I listen to them, the more time I have for that information to stick. What my goal is right now is to just listen to one of those lectures a week. They're about an hour long, so I figured just in my free time to go ahead and just start listening to one a week. I figured that was definitely manageable with my schedule. Now, I was able to get a hold of a study guide from the review session as well. This thing was like 60 pages and it holds a ton of information. So while I'm listening to the lecture, I am gonna slowly look through this and just review it as I go. There are also two review books. There's a yellow book and a blue book, I believe, which I do have on my laptop right now. They were too long for me to print out, so I'm just gonna leave those on my laptop, but I am also going to go through those whenever they call for it in the lecture. Now, another piece of information that I found super useful with different people talking about their NCLEX journey was the Nurse Labs cheat sheets. I love cheat sheets. I am super excited for this because it is just, I believe, 6 pages. And I feel like it does a great job condensing everything we need to know. So I went ahead and printed that out. I probably won't look at this right away. I did print this out just so I don't forget about it, and I do have it for me right here so I can go ahead and look at it later on. Now, before I move on, I do just want to let you know everything that I found in my research. I am going to go ahead and put in the Facebook group, so make sure that you join that Facebook group if you are not already in there, because you will have all the research that I found and all these resources. Now, this last resource that I have in this folder goes back to me not wanting to make a mess in my bullet journal, and eventually all that information is going to get converted over, but I went ahead and I printed out monthly calendars from March to July. Now, I did go ahead and do this just because it makes it easier for me to write everything down that I need to write down, and I don't have to make a mess in case I have to make changes later. So I can write on here in pencil, erase it when I need to, and then I can put my permanent plan in my bullet journal. Just makes it easy for me to stay organized and making sure I don't have to mark and scribble out everything, because I hate when my bullet journal looks like that, and sometimes that can make me a little bit anxious just looking at that mess that happens in my bullet journal, which last year my agenda looked like a disaster because of coronavirus, and then my classes having to get shifted. So I have resorted to using these online free calendars whenever I know that I need to erase and will be having to rearrange my schedule later on. I'm currently writing out my 90-day study guide. Now, I do just want to note, if you see me look to the left, it's because I am looking at my computer with the information that I need on it to create this study guide. Now, I did decide to cut the page in half. All the Saunders information will be on the left-hand side, and when I decide to purchase UWorld, all the questions will be on the right-hand side that correspond with the section I'm currently working in. Now, I did decide to go ahead and start with antepartum, then work my way into labor and delivery, then postpartum, then newborn, go into peds. I also tied peds into mental health. And then I decided to go into foundations of care and leadership and management. Now, I feel like I need to have a good solid foundation before I go back into studying MedSurg 1 and going back and re-looking at MedSurg 2. And plus, since I'm in MedSurg 2 right now, I figured I could wait a minute before I re-look at all this information again. I figured starting from before birth and going through the birthing experience and then going through the development of a child all the way up to adolescent, made the most sense to me, reviewing all of this information and then going into the adult world and then furthering my study into the geriatric population. I also do want to start with labor and delivery because I thought this class was very challenging. There's information that I still don't quite understand that I know I need to go back and relearn. And although I love the information, the material was difficult for me. Now, my plan is to start studying on March 15th. I'm going to go ahead and time myself to see how long it takes me to get through the maternal and newborn section. And once I figure all that out, I'm going to start sprinkling in the rest of the sections into my current school schedule. And of course, once I graduate, really focus in on the rest of the material. I'm sure this is what all of y'all have been waiting for, and that is my NCLEX study plan. Like I said, I am going to be using my Saunders book as the main place where I get all my information, but I decided I am also going to buy UWorld. Now, none of that UWorld information has obviously made it on my study plan yet. I have not purchased UWorld and will probably be purchasing it within the next couple weeks. My school is trying to get us a discount, so if I can get the discount, I'd like it, but I am going to buy the 90-day because it comes with 2 assessments, and then there's like 2,190 something questions. So really what my study plan is going to look like is I'm going to read my Saunders book, and then after I'm going to do the questions that are in the Saunders book, take a break, and then do the corresponding UWorld questions that go with the content I just read. Now, I know some people do like to do it a little different way where they just like to do the UWorld questions because they want to see what information they retained. But in my opinion, I really just like reading the material, going through it, making sure that I know it, and then whatever I don't know, I'm going to be writing down in my composition notebooks. And then I can go ahead and test myself, take a break, and really figure out what didn't stick after that study session. This is what my study plan currently looks like. I decided I wanted to start in antepartum and then work through labor and delivery, then do postpartum, then go through the growth and development in peds, tie in peds to mental health because somebody made such a good point that mental health issues arise during adolescence, and I figure that would be great to tie in mental health with this. Then go into all of the basics, so like foundations of care and then the leadership and management. Then I make my way into adult health, and at the bottom, which I will get into in a minute, are the assessments. Now, when it comes to practice tests, I actually found out that the Saunders book can be linked to an Evolve account. I used Evolve back in first and second semester for extra practice questions, and I've started using Evolve again this semester for practice questions for MedSurg. I found out that the Saunders book has 2 extra assessments on top of the 1 assessment that already comes in the book itself. There is a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. So before I get started with any kind of studying, which I am officially going to start studying March 15th. This upcoming weekend, I want to take that pre-assessment and get an idea of where I lie. And I already know I may not perform to the best of my ability, but I want to get an idea of where my weaknesses are and where I really need to focus my studying. I'm definitely going to start with that pre-assessment. I'm going to take the time to go ahead and do it. After I finish that pre-assessment, that leaves me with 4 assessments. I'm going to probably do the post-assessment that is on the Evolve website with Saunders, and then the comprehensive exam that is in the Saunders book midway through my studying, so most likely in about 45 days or so. Then I will leave the 2 UWorld assessments till almost the very end of my studying. I want that to be an indicator of how my studying went and figure out really where I am in passing or failing the NCLEX going into it. Now, when it comes to figuring out dates of what I am studying, I am trying to keep my study schedule very lenient, just starting with maternal and newborn and then going into peds. Once I get an idea of how long it takes me to go through the maternal and the newborn, I will go ahead and start implementing study days on these calendars. And of course, I'm going to update you along the way because I feel like this is such a rough draft of my study plan, and I know it is going to change in just a week or 2 once I get my UWorld. I want to do questions while I am studying as well, so I know my study blocks are going to get longer, and with my current school schedule, I do have to be very conscientious of putting my school first, but making sure I am going back and studying this information as well. Of course, I'll keep you updated throughout my NCLEX journey. There will be more videos like this when it comes to my NCLEX study plan, so it will eventually be a series. And that is all that I have for you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel, join the community, join the Facebook group, and I always just want to wish you luck on your nursing journey.